Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today we're going to go into the mind of a beautiful woman who has been in and out of the judicial system for 15 years of her life. She's 33 years old, but 15 years of that has been entanglement of the justice system. I'd like to welcome to the show all the way from Kokomo, Indiana, now residing in Indianapolis, Indiana, Bailey Wisher. Welcome to the show, Bailey.
Thank you.
All right, let's get down to it. Tell a little bit about who you are, Bailey.
Yep. So I'm a person in long-term recovery from IV heroin and meth use. I struggled in and out of addiction for 20 years. I'm a mom to two beautiful girls, and I work in the addiction recovery field now, serving others and giving back.
33 years old, 15 years in and out of the system.
Yeah.
How did the addiction even begin to take place? Because there's different forms of addiction. What was yours, and what was some of the things that led up to your addiction in and out of the institutions?
Yep, that's a good question. Okay, so when I was younger, I suffered sexual trauma from somebody that should have been protecting me. And that went on for quite a while, for about 5 years. And so that started something within me, right? And I remember not feeling right, not feeling comfortable, out of place. And then from there, it kind of transpired. I had a best friend growing up who her parents let us do anything we wanted to do. So it was a fun thing she had all older siblings too, okay? So they were doing this stuff, so we kind of picked up.
When you say doing this kind of stuff, what is this stuff that they were allowing?
Yeah, we were smoking cigarettes, smoking pot, drinking.
How old were you?
11. So I smoked my first cigarette at 9, and then from there, starting at age 10 or 11, at her house on the weekends, we were drinking and smoking pot. And it was a weekend thing, and by the time I was 13, it was an all the time thing.
You mean your parents, your mother and father, never had any indication that you was partaking in these events up under their... Now you mentioned something, let's go back a minute.
Yeah.
You mentioned somebody that was supposed to be taking care of me. Mm-hmm. Explain that. Yeah.
So my mom had gotten in a relationship with another man after her and my father's divorce. And so we became a blended family.
Okay.
So it was one of his sons. And so it would have been my stepbrother, somebody who should have been protecting me and, being a good example.
The new blended family, the son of your stepfather basically was the one that was doing the molestation. What age was the molestation basically taking place?
From 7 to 12.
Did you share this with your mom? Did you share the information when this was happening?
Not during. I didn't know that I needed to.
What do you mean by that?
I didn't know that it was wrong. I don't think I was a little girl, so I didn't fully grasp the concept that it shouldn't have even been happening. Mm-hmm. Until I started getting a little older and realized that something wasn't right. I would say that was probably around the age of like 11. And
how much older was he to you?
Probably about 7 years, roughly.
So how was he able to, let's use the word groom, how was he grooming you where you thought this was normal, but he had to be enticing you to some kind of degree in order to get you to there had to be some. Were there adults around as he was doing these things? So he knew when to do it and when not to do it.
Yeah. Apparently, yeah.
Wow. So let's move forward. So now you're a little bit older, but you're getting your first taste of almost being 21, I guess. Smoking, drinking, marijuana.
The
what
whole
else?
shebang.
Really?
When I was 13, I did heroin and meth for my first time.
You wasn't scared?
I mean, no, I had been smoking pot and drinking before that.
Okay, but this is like
Yeah.
a different degree. This can kill you.
Yeah. So I was young. I didn't know that. I didn't understand that.
And these were adults that was basically allowing you to partake in heroin and these dangerous drugs in their presence.
Yeah, and I would say more so like during that time, older siblings of the friend, and I also used with my brother, my oldest brother, on and off. He also struggled in and out of addiction, like me, and there was times on and off throughout our lives that we had used together.
Where's your mom?
Where was she during the time?
Yeah.
Yep. Working. She worked a lot.
She wasn't even aware of what was going on. I mean,
We hid it pretty
I
well.
was going to say, how do you hide that? Because usually
I was never under the influence around
Right.
her until I was older.
Okay.
And like the parents' house of the friend I was doing these drugs with, they seemed like they had it together. They had a nice home, clean, lots of food. They had very good jobs. Whenever my mom called and needed to speak to them or me, like everything was fine, right? You wouldn't know no different.
When did your life begin to spiral out of control? Because you're not even 21. You're barely 15 years old.
Yeah.
You're doing adult things, being sexually attacked by a family member. When does your life begin to go chaos?
I would say probably high school. It started to get really bad. I went into treatment actually my first time when I was 15, and that was I was involved in the juvenile drug court program because I continued to get in trouble and arrested. I got
What were you getting arrested for?
Conversion, shoplifting,
Okay.
hanging out with these same friends, going to the mall, taking clothes, makeup.
Was this to
things
feed
like
your
that.
habit or to feed their habit?
Neither. We were just being
Mesisha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so, probably it got really out of control by the time I was in high school and was made to do the drug court program. That then it became an apparent problem to everyone, right?
Did your mom intervene? Did she come to the plate when you got all the in and out of when the sign of trouble first became noticeable to everybody? What did your mom do?
So part of like court, we the drug court program, we had to go weekly. She was always there. I mean, she was always there. She didn't really put up with my bullshit, I guess you could say, but because of the drugs, I did have some, I would say maybe a behavior problem. I started to get mouthy. I was irritable, right? So I guess it could easily be confused for just an asshole kid, right? Especially during teenage years. But I was hurt and I was carrying a lot of trauma, and I didn't really know that. And I know that my mom did the best she could, and I did go to therapy. I seen a lot of different therapists. Was put on different medications, but nobody knew the root cause because no one suspected I was getting high until
What
they knew.
were you sharing with the people that was supposed to help you? Your therapist, your doctors, the social workers, the courts. Did you even share with your mom that you had been that one of the events could have triggered and started it was the fact that the guy that she married, son, was molesting you?
Yeah, so I did tell her, and she took immediate action. And
when you say immediate action, what was the immediate action that your mom took?
Yeah, so I actually called her at work, and she left work right then and there, and came and picked me up, took me to the police station, and filed a police report. And then that started this long, drawn-out process over a couple of years of dealing with that within the court systems.
How many years had passed before you shared this with your mom?
5.
So you're about 13 at this time?
12.
12. You shared it with your mom. You called your mom. And what was the event that led you to call your mom and tell her, okay, this isn't right, blah, 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 blah?
Yeah, so the friend that I was using with, excuse me, she was over at our house, and we were smoking cigarettes and stuff like this, so it wasn't unusual that this happened, but something went off of me. But so the guy that abused me, he had accused her of taking a cigarette from him, and I seen him patting her down, and something just switched in me, and I knew something wasn't okay, and I knew I should say something right then.
So you call your mom. She's still with this guy, his father, correct?
No, they were separated at this point.
So even though they had separated, you still had some interaction with this guy?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, because they were separated, and we moved out and were in our own home, and the kids still came over because we had been a blended family for a while.
How did that change the whole outlook with your mom, this guy, and him bringing his blended family still in you guys' mix, but now your mom has found out a deep, dark secret?
I think we all immediately quit speaking to one another. Instant enemies, I guess you could say.
Well, he's older, so criminal charges are filed.
Yeah.
Does he go to jail or does he go to jail? What happens in that process? Because you're still underage, and now you have to go to court and testify against this guy, and so what happens? Do they make it a hearsay? That's tough to prove, and this event took place,
yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, I remember having to go and speak with like a social worker, and there was a whole lot of stuff involved behind that. When a kid reports something like that, it's a whole situation. You have to be assessed multiple times. You have to speak with social workers, psychiatrists multiple different times, and do all kinds of stuff with them concerning that. And they base it off that, and based off the information I gave, they filed charges against him. And I don't really know what happened on his end with like the arrest, but I do know his dad got a lawyer, a really good lawyer, and the case was fought for 2 years.
So when do you start to visit and get put in the system for 15 years? Evidently your life is still spiraling out of control because you spent half of your adulthood, you're 33 years old now, in the institution. So evidently the treatments didn't work, the counseling didn't work. What was the pits that put you in and out of the system for so long?
Well, the first time I was arrested was at the age of 11 for like shoplifting, makeup and clothes and things like that. And so with being involved with the justice system, it was just, a continued thing. I would get in trouble. At school, I would get in trouble for more shoplifting, for smoking pot. just different things. So I was in and out, and so I had a probation officer, and they started monitoring me and then drug testing me, and that's how they found out I was using. That's how I was put in the program. So as time went on, it was just kind of the same thing. I did get consequences, but I really don't know how else to explain it other than I was a hurt person, and I didn't understand the depth and magnitude of the choices that I was making. And
did you have children at this time?
No.
Okay.
No. I had my first daughter when I was 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did the lights change for you that, you clearly can't be comfortable in and out of the system? That's called institutionalized.
Yeah.
And you're definitely doing a recidivism to where you're going back, and people probably thinking that you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then where's the trust at? Because you're going back in and you're making bonehead decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I was. And I probably was looked at just like other people who are justice involved. I had a mental health condition, and an addiction. So co-occurring disorders. So I was probably just deemed a troublemaker, lost cause, which those things I was called.
Yeah.
Society says that shit about people who make bad decisions, but they don't know why they're making bad decisions, right? So I think my eyes started to open, when I went to treatment when I was 15. I got like some groundwork, a foundation for some healing. And the counselor that I had there he was a no-nonsense, tell-you-straight type of person, and I needed that. And you know how, do you have children?
Yeah.
You know how we can tell our kids something and it doesn't register with them, but if they hear the same exact thing from someone else, they're like, that was the situation kind of with me. The healing had to come externally, and the experience and people sharing, their experiences with me for my eyes to kind of be opened.
What was the one thing that was shared with you that opened your eyes and you said, now I need to get busy, because you've already been deemed by society and you wasn't going to have that stigma over your head. So what was the one thing that somebody said to you, whether it was this guy or this person, that you said, okay, enough is enough?
Yeah. I can't think of one thing that one person said. Really, it was a compilation of advice over the years and then my own internal work. But when I had enough was a little over 2 years ago, and it wasn't anything that somebody said to me. It was like a spiritual experience for me, and I just realized, like right there in that moment, that I didn't have to fight anymore. That I was enough, my freedom meant enough, and my family meant enough.
So you just said something. You said your life just changed 2 years ago?
Yeah, about 25 months ago.
So you were still trying to find your way, and you just did it 2 years ago?
Yeah, finally. I had little periods throughout my life where I felt really good about myself, and where I thought I could do it, where I could live, like responsibly and make healthy choices and feel good about myself. But I didn't really feel that I had purpose, and because of the choices I made throughout life, I didn't really feel like I deserved anything good. But that's what my mental health and my addiction was telling me, was that I wasn't deserving.
But this light bulb just clicked 2 years ago, and yeah. I'm glad. It's never too late.
No.
It's never too late. But some people will be like, you're 33 years old, so at the age of 30, you're 30 or 31, your light finally clicked. Did you have kids before it clicked?
Yes.
And so it didn't register then that I need to change?
Absolutely, but Absolutely, but I don't know if you know anybody with mental health or addictions. I would encourage you to go meet people like that and talk to them more so you can get some more insight, because it is a real serious issue. You know, like right now we have a fentanyl epidemic, and we have for a couple of years, right? And it is wiping people out. We had over 100,000 deaths in 2000, overdose fatalities in 2022. That's a problem. People aren't just making bad choices when we have numbers like that, right?
Right.
People are sick. People are lost. People need help, need compassion, need love, direction, and I was one of those people.
And I appreciate you coming here, opening up and bringing that awareness. What was the profound moment? 2 years ago, your life changed. 2 years. What was the spark?
I had just kind of came to the end of myself. I was in treatment, and I actually, we were in a group, because in the treatment centers you do groups during the day, and it was a spirituality group, and we were encouraged to do something. A bunch of books were presented to us, and we were encouraged to pick something we normally wouldn't, and I did. And we had to read some
What
of it.
did you pick that you normally wouldn't?
So I don't remember the title of the book, but it was a book by Pema Chodron. And it was just like a spirituality, self-help, healing type of book. And I just read a couple pages of it, and we all had to write like a very brief summary and share it with the group. And whatever I read in that wasn't the catalyst, because it was a compilation of things over the years, but something just really spoke to me when I read that, and it kind of made the pieces come together, maybe.
You mentioned something, and congratulations on that, but you mentioned something. You mentioned your children, two beautiful girls.
Yeah.
Did they witness what you was going through? Trying to get well, is what I mean. Did they witness this?
So
Did it affect you that they were witnessing it? And more importantly,
absolutely.
did it affect you because you're right, there probably wasn't enough attention brought to addiction, because there's so many addictions out there. There's probably not a direct definitive answer for treatment for mental health and so forth, because everybody goes through it different, and treatment is going to be different for them. But
That's right.
But you got kids.
Yep.
How were they being impacted by your struggle to try to get well?
Yeah, so that's a good question. That's something I love to be open about, because I know I'm not the only one that struggled like this. And so I love my children dearly, right? So there was this quote, I'm going to tell you, but I want to share this quote that I came across. And so you know how people say, don't you love your kids enough? Wouldn't you die for your kids?
Mm-hmm.
Of course we would, right? But would I live for them? So that kind of registered with me too. So I went to prison for the first time when my oldest daughter was 4 months old, okay? And my parents stepped in and helped to raise my children. I'm very, very grateful for that, that they didn't have to go in the system, right? That they had a sense of home and family.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I love my kids. And it's not that they weren't enough. It wasn't about them. I was sick. I was sick. Yeah. They did suffer. More so my oldest. She's 12. And my youngest is 7. So my 7-year-old was very little. And when I mentioned that I had periods where I kind of had it together and had some hope and stuff like that, I did really good, and I'm a great mom. I made shit decisions because I was a sick person, and me and my oldest daughter have worked a lot on our relationship the last couple of years and have gotten a lot closer, because I didn't use at home because I couldn't be home because of the choices I made and burned bridges, and I wasn't allowed there, right? And when I say home, I'm talking about my dad's or my mom's, because they were making decisions to protect my children. Mm-hmm. And I would see my kids and stuff like that, but a majority of the time I was either homeless or locked up. Yeah.
I'm glad that you found that sense of direction and that and your sense of purpose to realize that you do need to live for your kids, not die for your kids.
Yeah.
With that said, you're advocating for the things that you have gone through. What are you've been blessed? Put it like it is. It might have happened 2 years ago, but you're there now. What are some of the positive things that have happened because out of darkness, light eventually shows its face?
Yeah. So one thing, let me speak real quick on being blessed. So, I like to believe that I went through a lot of what I went through to help someone else, to shine light to someone else, and because I don't feel like we're supposed to do life alone. We weren't created to do life alone, and I feel like we all go through what we go through to share that with someone else, so they're not alone. But what I have going on today is, well, I just closed on my first house last week on Valentine's Day.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So that's really awesome. It's a beautiful, beautiful house. I've had steady employment. I'm a peer support professional. That means I have used my life experience, and it is now my career.
So you're a real life coach for real.
Yeah. For real.
Okay, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. When I hear life coach, this is a real life coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not anything that somebody can come at me with that I probably haven't experienced, honestly. So I can really offer help and insight and a perspective, right? What else? I'm in college. I started college in November.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everything is just like going full circle now.
And I haven't been in school in a long time, but I'm kicking ass. I've got A's, so that's pretty cool. And I work full time, and I'm a single mom, so I'm doing
And
it.
probably repair those bridges of trust with individuals that probably didn't trust at one point in your life. Such an amazing story. I'm gonna go back one notch before we close this story out, and I really appreciate you coming here and sharing that remarkable story of your life to help impact others. I tell people when you come on the show, it's that beast mindset. All you're trying to do is come out and basically take your experiences and touch one person. I like the way you said that. Your story may not be for everybody, but at least it can touch that one person. If you had to go back in life, well, let me rephrase it. With all that you've gone through, you're definitely advocating for addiction and mental health. What do you think what do you think would have helped you better as opposed to just now for figuring it out 2 years ago? What needed to be in place, and what do we need to have in place to help the next person? Because look how long that's taken for you to get there, and you go from rock bottom 1 minute you're here, 1 minute you're there. And not saying we don't have my hats off to the therapists and the mental health people, but there has to be a better solution here, that you don't have to travel this long and go through the system and in and out and recidivism and going back into the same type of environment. What needed to be in place for you to that would have maybe helped you?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So I'm going to give an answer that has a couple different perspectives. I think that it was always all on me. First of all, I want to say that I always I take full responsibility for my actions, my choices, what have you, right? But I could have been treated nicer by people.
What do you mean, people? The people that were supposed to help you, or society in general?
Society, treated nicer, more compassionate. Like when I advocate for, addiction and recovery, one of the things I'm really big about is treating people with, people have a need to feel seen, heard, and loved, right?
Right.
We can't help that. We have that need. And being treated with dignity and respect. I was treated like shit. I was treated like shit by, I was deemed, hopeless, a lost cause, a junkie. I've been told I, go kill myself. I should have died. By anywhere from just people, I have barely met, jail staff, prison staff, the courts, you name it, right? Another thing I would say is, like, my position today, being the peer support professional, I think that it could have helped to have somebody who had the lived experience and could have shedded some light on life,
Could have been a better life coach like you, or bring their experiences into your world.
Yeah, and now, even though it still has a long way to go, I feel like the world is a lot better with introducing recovery and mental health and getting comfortable talking about the uncomfortable stuff.
Right.
But when I was suffering and going through my mess, it was still like a taboo subject, and people didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to deal with it. So, that's when people like me were deemed hopeless and basically not a part of society.
Leave the viewers, before we wrap up today's show, you definitely have gone through the smoke and come out a phoenix. That's that beast mindset. What keeps you going every day now? What keeps you going? What keeps that beast mind going in you?
A lot of things, but if I had to narrow it down, I would say, I'm okay in my own skin today. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I know that I have a purpose and I live in it. I don't second guess myself anymore. My girls serving.
I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your eyes. How can the people reach out to you to know more about you and be a part of your advocating for mental health and addiction? How can they reach out to you and be a part of your journey?
Excuse me. So I have social medias. I'm on Facebook, TikTok, under Bailey Wisher, and I do on my TikTok. I do a lot of inspirational recovery related things.
That's really good. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton.